Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under Civil War Edition, Utgar style. This is Big a Bullfrog, and joining me this week is an excellent player who I'm super excited to have commentating this game with me. It is infectedsloth. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to get this Civil War going.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a great one. So if you don't know who infectedsloth is and you're viewing this, he is an incredible player. He won the Gen Con main event last year. I think, didn't you go like undefeated that whole weekend?
Yeah, I did. It was a good run. A lot of nice dice too.
Yeah, I mean, like, but that's no small feat. Undefeated for a whole weekend at Gen Con. That's amazing. This is the first time he's joining me as a caster, and I'm super excited for that. He does the Casters of Valhalla podcast as well. He's been on, I don't know if it was every episode, but at least a lot of them.
Yeah, most of them. We can't make it all. We have a bit of a rotation.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so he's going to bring a lot of really good insight to this game. I'm super excited for it. So for this game, we've got the Online Con General Wars event. This is Dysole versus Heroscaper2010. It just happened to be in Utgar Civil War. So this is going to be really exciting. Over on the left, we've got Dysole. She's got, let's see, 4 squads? Yeah, 4 squads.
Yeah, 4 squads.
2, 3. Yep, 4 squads of Goblin Cutters, a Fen Hydra, and Moltenclaw. Over on the right, Heroscaper2010 is running an Ornak army with Ornak, 2 squads of Heavies, Grimnak, Marku Essenwein, and also a Fen Hydra. So we've got some Hydra on Hydra action going on for this one.
Mm-hmm. Dual Hydras are always interesting because it's just can be potentially carnage, or like they just like both can just stare each other down from across the map and like not even get near each other. They're both like scared of each other.
Right? I feel like sometimes it can turn into a game of chicken of like who's gonna dive in first.
Yes. Yeah, the way they both have their Hydras faced, it doesn't look like they want either part of each other, but I do like Heroscapers 2010's Hydra's closer to the Kelda, just because Hydras just love Kelda glyph as much as pretty much a hero.
Yeah, that'll be really nice for if he's able to snag that first. But yeah, this will be a cool matchup. I will say one cool stipulation about the army building for this format is they did say that you can't have more than 200 points of a common figure, which is why you'll see things like, I mean, it's not quite as obvious in these armies, but you do have the 4 squads, only 200 points of Goblin Cutters, as well as only 2 squads of Heavies.
I love that stipulation. I think it really breathes a lot of fresh air into the General Wars meta, which is kind of played out if you just do standard 500 point 24 hexes.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think that's definitely something that we'll probably be using at like local tourneys, I'm sure. And it'll be cool. But yeah, with that introduction, we'll go ahead and jump into the game.
So I'm definitely looking at, Marku Velda and how Dysole's going to respond.
Right, yeah, because those speedy orcs right from the beginning will be really nice for 2010.
I mean, that's why Marku should be in every Ornak build. His utility is just off the charts, not having to roll for Eternal Hatred.
Yeah, that's something that I mean, I love that. I think so. Just to like kind of bring up another game that I saw with Ornak and Marku, we saw a game with you playing this Orc Watch, and casting it with me was Orc Elf Army 1, and he said he'd pay like up to like 60-ish points for Marku, I believe, in an Ornak build where he doesn't have to roll for Eternal Hatred.
That's an interesting way to look at it. How much would yeah, that's around a number that I could definitely see. 50, 60 and stuff. He's that good. You know, it's just threat range, glyph holder, because especially with Raylan I'm paying 60. Without Raylan, maybe like 50 and stuff, but
that's true, yeah.
It's a lot.
I mean, yeah.
I really like both of these armies with this format. Very creative, especially the just anytime you can pick an Ornak build in General Wars, that's just something you never see.
Yeah, right?
But it's unfortunate that a lot of the utility of his what is it called? Where you can roll symbols now is pretty nerfed because Goblin Cutters have 1 defense. They'll just get destroyed and then just run away.
Right. That's true. That'll be nice if needs to make a push at either of the heroes, but yeah, against the Cutters. So I was like looking at the map earlier too. And just kind of like looking at the matchup, because I'll be honest, I saw a lot of games this weekend. I don't remember exactly what happens in this game. And so it's just like kind of looking at like who I thought was favored. And I like a lot about Sam's army as a whole, especially because Cutters versus so much melee. But also at the same time, though, the map doesn't. There's a lot of 2-hex corridors, and if Heroscaper 2010 can abuse those, I think that could work against the Cutters in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the map is not very Goblin Cutters friendly. It's going to be how can Heroscaper deny mob attack, because that's the name of the game versus Goblin Cutters. But he can only deny it so well because if he makes those walls, he doesn't have any range to shoot from. So if he makes these walls and doesn't engage, Sam will just bring up Moltenclaw and just fire line the bejesus out of these people.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Like if you see sitting back where he's like safe and is denying that, that's very hittable from Moltenclaw.
Yeah, he's one turn away right now, and all those are just lined up. I feel like Moltenclaw is a very strange figure because he's, probably an A-. Like everybody knows he's good, but just nobody plays him. I find it very difficult to just visualize Moltenclaw's threat range, because as a flyer and a single space, and then he's got that weird, 4 range, then you can like change the angle of it and stuff. It's very hard to play around. It's very not intuitive.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Actually, talking about it right now, I'm thinking I should play more Moltenclaw so that I can envision that better. Because I've seen Moltenclaw used well.
Yeah.
But I never quite feel comfortable enough with it to predict what's going to happen. Or
it's just 3 defense, 6 life, 170. It's just scary. Especially 4 threat range. If he's not getting his rolls, he can kind of not last too long.
That's very true. I wonder if so I always wonder about him with green scales. Obviously, green scales are best with Nilfheim, Braxis, but Moltenclaw can do some interesting things when he's got that screen always moving around with him.
Yeah, it's probably his best army. It's just kind of unfortunate that for 15 points higher, you get Nilfheim. Oh, this is it. Yeah, that's a big burn. He's going to burn all 4 of them.
Yeah, that's huge.
Oh.
And that is also huge.
Yeah, that's man, because only 2 heavies. This could have taken out almost half of them.
Yeah,
and
that would have been terrible. Interesting that he's pushing this way. I almost think that with heavies, this would be a good time to try to push. Well, maybe Heroscaper 2010 doesn't want to overcommit and just turn into another line of fire.
Yeah, I like Sam's goal of using Moltenclaw on them to thin out heavies, because once he thins out heavies, if he doesn't have the attacks per order markers, the Goblin Cutters can just roll over the remaining one. Because 20 of them? No, he's got 16 of them. That's for 200 points. No, he's got 20 of them, right?
Not 16.
It's only 16. Oh, he didn't go all max Cutters. Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, but even with that, that's still 2-1 versus the heavies.
Yeah.
And the heroes are kind of, Grimneck's good into Cutters.
Very
Hydra's good into Grimneck. You've got a lot of interesting ways that could play out.
Yeah, I think Grimneck is. The fact that he can chomp and doesn't activate Scurry, and then he gets probably a kill. This is one of the few matchups where you expect Grimneck's normal attack to kill, and that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, one of those really nice ways where you can guaranteed get 2 kills against Cutters, and then follow up with heavies if you're going full on against them.
Yeah, they can. You can whittle down. Bonding melee doesn't do too bad against Cutters. Besides special attack, it's probably the thing that hurts them the most.
Right. So another try with the Burning Breath, and only a 1-man. Moltenclaw's just flopping.
Yeah. That's the thing. Those 1 rolls really hurts. Nilfheim, he gets multiple rolls, but like Koan gets one roll, so it's feast or famine a lot of times. Heavy Gruts.
Over, and he's just kind of.
I like getting Ornak in there. Like you're getting heavies up to Moltenclaw, and getting Ornak in there and killing Moltenclaw is a pretty important win condition. And Grimnak is just chomping one Goblin Cutter. I don't think it's that important.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that because, I mean, granted, there's like the. I mean, I think I can understand the nervousness about getting Ornak in there and just setting up a bigger line of fire. Yeah. But, I mean, if you get those big hits in, I think it's worth it. I don't know, is there, can you see a really good spot for Ornak? I was thinking maybe here. I'm not sure if there's a better spot.
If he does there, he can't. Well, he hit 3 of them. Yeah, I think that's the best spot. And it also denies Goblin Cutters jumping up on your heavy on that spot and attacking down.
Yeah, which is especially something to look out for since he is attacking Cutters with a heavy as well.
What was that attack? 4 for 4 on.
Yeah, that was just on a Cutter right here.
Oh, the overkill.
Yeah.
And this is the big stuff.
Yep, main event right here. Here's a wound. Two. Ooh.
Yeah. A Hydra order marker looks pretty tempting on Grimnak, but
right.
I don't know if you can. If you're just, it's tough though, because then the rest of the heavies are just going wild and just destroying the rest of your army. And if he takes a couple turns to kill Grimnak, and the rest of his army's decimated, I don't know if he can come back from that.
Right. Yeah. This is really just because of Moltenclaw not, I mean, even killing any figures there, that's really putting Dysole behind. And
yeah.
One thing that I do like about this kind of flanking motion that Heroscaper2010 is doing is that since there haven't been order markers on the Hydra, he could, and maybe this is what he was going for, but he can move Grimnak into here-ish, and then get both of these heavies adjacent to the Hydra and start making the attacks of 4 on it.
Yeah.
Or he could go up there.
He's just confident that he can take out the goblins. It'll be enough. Yeah, I mean, he does have a Hydra in the reserve, so maybe that's making him less scared of putting a Hydra. But I would hope he at least throws one heavy at him to tie him up.
Right, yeah. Just because, I mean, like, and I value early wounds on a sleeping Hydra so much.
Yeah, and just when Hydra's engaged, his risk potential for taking a leaving engagement attack is way higher than almost any other figure. You do not want to lose a head on a leaving engagement attack unless you absolutely have to.
It's going for more Cutter kills. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, sure, I don't mind the one attack on a Cutter per turn, because, I mean, that's whittling them down. I don't like that he allowed them to kind of get up here with the Ornak placement, but
yeah,
going for like both of these on Cutters, though, that's just not going to happen. Dysole's not going to let you get both of them.
Yeah, the power of Scurry. So he has isolated Moltenclaw, but can't Moltenclaw. I'm trying to think of the shots. It does open up some nice shooting gallery for Moltenclaw's power. But Moltenclaw really needs to at least kill a couple heavy, because right now he's in range of Kelda. But if he gets up to enough wounds, he can't. He has to risk a quad disengage right now, and that's
true. Yeah.
Now you need to do a little bit, which could be a Heroscaper2010's strategy: is just keep throwing people Moltenclaw and whittling down, and not letting him have Kelda. Because if he doesn't have Kelda, then you're pretty much in control. You have 3 heroes that are all closer than his Hydra to Kelda. There he comes.
So now we've got 2 orcs in the R. That'll be a big help. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Moltenclaw fall during this turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, with Moltenclaw rolling once per turn, I mean, I think you nailed it with the feast or famine, and this is such a famine. That was only only two attacks that flopped for Moltenclaw in a row.
Yeah.
But just those two gave 2010 so much momentum there.
Yeah, and it's move glyph heavies too, so they can capitalize on a dud roll better than so many other figures. And like Goblin Cutters, just they're decent screens, but they can't stand up for that for that long.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, what were the? I need to make a habit of looking at what order markers people are on. I looked up and I saw heavies. I was like, oh.
Yeah, so that's all heavies. Dysole had 2 order markers on Hydra, 1 on Cutters, and 1 on Moltenclaw.
Yeah. And now that Hydra's not tied up, those 2 order markers on Hydra are so much scarier.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's interesting to see Dysole's plan is here to try to bail herself out.
This could be it. Moltenclaw bail itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Or
okay, so I do remember this moment. Actually, I had a random memory crop up earlier when you were talking about burning breath attacks that Moltenclaw could do, and I do remember this.
Yeah, the hit back. That's what I was thinking when he brought Grimnak over.
Yeah, because that's something that like I remember seeing that just like looking over at one point while it was recording and being like, oh, that is so unintuitive, but I love that Moltenclaw can do that.
Yeah, it's weird, it's wacky. I was thinking almost the quad disengage and then attack the Moltenclaw, attack left of that heavy right there.
Right here?
Yeah, and then burn that one, the heavy, and Ornak.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm just concerned, like, Moltenclaw's gonna, even if it gets a big attack, it's gonna die, and you're giving up Kelda.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're giving up attacks down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can take 1 attack down. That might not be the best.
Yeah, I think. I mean, this did pay off. You just
it really did.
Three heavies dead right there. I do like that Kelda grab though. If only to deny it to a Hydra later on, because
that's gonna be the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably one of the glyphs in the standard map pool that you have to play around more than the others. And it just can come into play in a lot of ways that just shift the game in ways that are not typical when Kelda's not in play, so you have to be very cognizant of it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing worse than a 9 wound Charos jumping, or an 8 wound Charos jumping on it. Oh, that hurts.
Oh yeah.
Been there, done that. On the receiving end. I've never actually hopped on it when I had that wounded. Must be nice.
Right. I just need to play him more often so that I have that opportunity more often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kelda is like one of the glyphs that, I mean, just because we've got new people coming into our local scene all the time, and I think Kelda is easily one of those glyphs that trips people up the most, where if they don't plan around it, it can just really mess them up.
Yeah, especially because you squad figures, they're not wounded, can't step on it, which is just a very specific rule. It's not like other glyphs. And unwounded heroes can't step on it either, so it acts a weird barrier. Okay, this is the big.
Holy cow, man!
He's not good.
Yeah, Dysole can't get anything.
Can't get a break. This is the nice thing about having an Ornak. Like Ornak and Grimnak usually aren't in heavy builds, and usually when Grimnak dies, your utility with heavies just drop dramatically. But even if Grimnak died here, Ornak-backed heavies are still very stout, so it's not like as big of a loss as a typical heavy build.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Back right in there.
I was not expecting that.
Interesting. That does mean that one heavy will have a monster attack.
Yeah. 5 with a aura.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could have gone back to the 2-hex by the jungle Grimnak. Yeah, right there. And boosted 2 people.
Oh, that's true. Boosted here and there.
And it saves Ornak. But, I mean, I guess if he's valuing... Oh, well, no, he gets the attack across.
Yeah, actually, I like that a lot. Well, I don't know. You're down to 4 heavies.
Yeah, if you're trying to conserve heavies, Ornak is not... He's almost baiting attacking Ornak.
Yeah. I guess you will still have these two boosted.
Yeah, it was 2 boosted either way. But... Grimneck, Ornak, and Height. Ooh.
It's quite the combination there.
Yeah, jeez. You just don't see it. Where's Nerak? Or Tornak, they need to get in here.
Right? Just get all the buffs in there.
3, 2.
It's another 2. Okay, so I mentioned it before we started recording, but I got to mention it again just for the viewers. If you have not looked into Dysole's wound box, this is my favorite way to do Hydra wounds ever.
I love it.
Dysole's always got the best stuff going on, and this is probably my favorite one that I've ever seen from her.
Really good. My cousin has a Hydra, and all the heads are cut off, and they're attached with magnets.
Oh, that's awesome! So
when the Hydra loses a head, you can take off a magnet.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I wonder, he didn't make it. I think one of the guys in the Louisville scene did back in the day, but I don't recall who. So maybe there's a tutorial on. There's probably a tutorial on Heroscaper. There's everything on Heroscapers.
Right. Yeah. There's so much.
Okay.
Right. So.
Short
cutter.
Cut.
I mean, that's got to be all cutters, right? I don't think it's worth going Hydra here.
No, it's not. It's all Hydras or all cutters.
Only 5 of them left. Yeah, I'm trying to think what Dysole could have done differently to avoid just like how she just got really routed by this army.
Yeah, it was it's if you want to make an aggressive counter move glyph play, because move glyph having Marku round 1, but there's only so much you can do, especially if you lose initiative.
Right.
Like if you win initiative, you can move up goblins. Marku takes, and then you can get mob attacks and attacks down. But the thing is, Marku only has 1 defense, so mob attack isn't even like that big a deal to most characters. And then if you don't do that, then you open double Hydra and try to kill Marku. That could be a thing.
That's true.
And then, or maybe even triple Hydra, because you're not scared of the other person's Hydra, and like you're not terrified of Grimneck and Heavies. And if they send Grimneck and Heavies over to your Hydra, you're probably not terribly sad like with that trade.
Right. Yeah, because Hydra will usually be able to take enough stuff down with it, and I mean, like, that could potentially, I don't know, there's only 2 squads of Heavies, move glyph, and only 2 heroes, so probably not as much, but it could potentially, like, kind of draw out the forces, which makes it really nice for cutters to play into.
And, like, look at this, like, we're talking about, kind of with Mike earlier, of how much you'd pay for Marku in a Ornak build. Like, we're talking, like, how is it a niche pin, and, like, how are we going to kill this strategy? But it's a 20-point figure.
I know.
That they didn't invest an order marker on, and yet it's that important.
It's just such a huge glyph holder.
It is.
And then, like, in endgame, you can bring him out and have him kill stuff.
Yep, 6 life is key, because you can't just get, like, lucky and 3 for 3, and, like, your opponent whiffs with, like, a Meeburks or something. Like, you're going to have to throw 6 skulls at them, and that just takes time, no matter what your army is.
Yeah, that's really crazy. I do really like, I mean, you said it earlier, I'll say it, I really like how Heroscaper2010 designed this army.
It's really cool. I was thinking, yeah, I really do a lot of thought on what the meta would look like in this army. I think 5 blades is very appealing.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Because you could go 5 blades. You can't go 5 blades. Grimneck, Nerak, or Grimneck, Tornak, Ornak. It's a little over. You go 4 Grimneck, Tornak, Ornak. Yeah, that's probably not enough. I don't know, but I think some heavy builds are some of the best. I mean, do you know who won? Veggie and Veggie's dad won, but do you know what their armies were right offhand?
I think Veggie was the one running Karos, right, with green scales.
Okay.
And then Veggie's dad was running. Oh, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Fire Isles. I remember.
Yeah, I think it was it Fourth and Knights?
That sounds like Veggie's dad style.
I think if I had to make a guess, that's what I would say, but it could have been a couple other things too. Yeah,
this game comes down to you live by the Moltenclaw, you die by the Moltenclaw. It's always scary putting your hands in the dice where you say, like, if this hits, I probably win. If this misses, like, I probably lose. Oh, yeah. I want to avoid as many of those as possible. And if I go through a game and it was with 0 of them, like, that's what my goal is.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. And you can kind of see, like, so Moltenclaw had that huge turn that came too late, basically, but killed 3 heavies and I think did 1 wound at least to Grimneck.
Yeah.
And had a very similar attack early on. I think, like, if that attack, if you switch those attacks, this is a very different game.
Yeah, I think he had 2, or his first ones didn't kill. I mean, that was his window. When Moltenclaw, did the hit and killed some heavies, then he brought in Hydra. But Hydra put, 1 wound on Grimneck to start, and that's just, he needed a little bit more. Because if he could kill Grimneck or something, because then Ornak, it's still boosted, but Hydra sometimes defense just doesn't want to crack ever.
Right. Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that a couple too many times for my taste.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
He is the lawnmower for a reason.
Right. Just chew stuff up. But, yeah, this 2010's Hydra wasn't even needed with just that strong push that he was able to keep through. Just keep sustained throughout the whole game.
Yeah, the Grimneck flank worked out for him.
Mm-hmm.
He got him to a good spot and was able to get a lot of boosted heavies to finish off the Hydra.
Yeah, and I think, like, on Dysole's side, I think I do like the Hydra opening, but like, if other than like the order, I think, like, bringing out Moltenclaw, everything like that, I think it was really well done. It's just banking on that Moltenclaw gamble that failed twice. Usually it's not going to fail twice in a row, but
or not catastrophic failures. And if he thinks he's doesn't like the matchup, then you definitely go for those plays. Because Moltenclaw was in a great position, and as long as it doesn't go absolutely terrible, it's a good play. It just, unfortunately, the dice were not with him.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think really good plays from Heroscaper2010. Yeah,
I liked it. Even just his Hydra over there, his Hydra placement didn't do anything, but if things got bad, it was in a good position. And the Ornak play when he brought him up when he did, it was a lot of good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed on both sides. Dysole kind of got steamrolled a little bit, but her reactions were pretty good. She was doing what she could, and I liked it on both sides.
Me too. Very important. Like, look where Ornak started, the complete other starting zone.
Mm-hmm.
And with Grimneck, it's such a powerful bonding hero that there's a chance that Ornak just kind of gets left behind. So I'm really happy that Ornak ended up in the opponent's starting zone and not just sitting there in his starting zone the entire time.
Right, yeah. And I think that's part of why I like this composition of 2 heavies, Ornak, Grimneck, that just makes it very, very easy to keep them all together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and without Nirak, like, you're not playing a very defensive pod, so you can send Ornak one way and, like, Grimneck another way, and kind of have 2 separate pods or being able to fight on double fronts. Where if you're just playing with Grimneck and Nirak, you're less apt to do so. You want to keep them a little more clumped.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so that's our game. Thanks so much for joining me for this one, infectedsloth.
Thank you for having me.
Really glad to have you on. So before we sign off, is there anything you want to, like, anything in particular you want to share, or I don't know, just like say to the viewers?
Yeah, I think this was super fun. I'm really happy for you doing this. They're really great, and I think giving more people more perspective and more and having anybody, can commentate also and try it out. It's really great for the community. So I'm really happy you're doing this. I think we have a lot of good stuff going on right now in the Heroscapers community. So exciting time to be part of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like so much cool stuff going on, and I love having fresh perspectives on. So I'm really glad you were able to come on. I'd love to have you on again. Lots of really good stuff.
Love to be on again.
Sweet. And also speaking about great stuff going on in the community, make sure that you, the viewers, check out just like so many of the cool resources that came from OnlineCon in particular. I will specifically mention. Let's see, infectedsloth, your brother, right, is ISB3?
Yes.
And so, ISB3, aka Filth on Twitch, streamed a good amount of the finals games from OnlineCon. I will have that plugged in the description below. Make sure that you check those out because those games were really good. I watched them, some of them live, some of them after the fact, but like they were really, really good. infectedsloth was helping out with, did you say, was it just one of them, or?
It was the Doc versus Kevin Dola finals for Take Two, I think, or something. And then I hopped in on some of them. But I think Tanner or Veggie commentated some, and we had a lot of people. It was a good time.
Yeah, lots of really good, just like really good experienced players for that one. ISB3, infectedsloth, Orcal Farming 1, Veggie, like you said. I think Cleon was in there as well for one of them, at least.
Yes.
But yeah, like they were really, really cool recordings. Like I said, plugged in the description below. Make sure you check them out. Also, make sure you check out the battle reports thread because that gives you like player insights to their games, and it's really cool to read those and just like see what the players were thinking when they were making decisions. I definitely recommend checking that out. There probably will be a couple other things in the description because I put a lot of links in the description. So I mean, like you said, infectedsloth, this is a great time for Heroscape and just getting into the game. Oh yeah, I'll also plug, especially since you're on here, Casters of Valhalla, because that's an awesome podcast. And if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should because they talk about so much cool stuff on that.
Yeah, I know they just recorded another one, Melee Bonding Part 2. I could not join that one, and I know we have a couple episodes planned out in the future that I'm very excited about. So it's a lot of good stuff coming.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I love that podcast. It's like all I've wanted.
It's super fun to do.
But yeah, so that'll be us. Thanks again so much for joining infectedsloth. And thank you, viewers, for viewing. Remember to always have a great Heroscaping day and what a beautiful, glorious world it is that we live in. And this will be 10 points under and out.